All right. So today I have with me Mark Little and Lionel Jinks from the Visual Concept / 2K Dev team. And we're going to be talking all about WWE 2K20. So thank you guys for joining me today. I know you guys got a lot on your plate at the moment, but I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Thank you for being here. I'm going to try to keep
Chris.
this. What's that?
It's always good to see you, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet. I have some questions prepared, so let's jump right into it if you guys are ready.
Let's do it.
So the lead up to this game's release has been a little different than in previous years. From what I've seen, people are a little concerned about kind of the lack of information that's been revealed so far. Today, the gameplay trailer did drop, but still no word on roster reveal, not too much info on other modes. Can you guys kind of talk about the reasoning behind some of the secrecy this year, if you will?
We're a secret team. No, I'm playing. No, I mean, like 2K19, you saw like that 2K dev guy just kind of like,
yeah, that dude
just was real busy, man. Like he was just like kind of MIA. Same thing this year, like, with everything that we're trying to do, especially this year with us, taking it on completely. We've been really busy. And so, all those things that, I used to have the liberty to do and post cool things that I saw on a daily basis and cut those videos personally and all those things, that had to take a back seat to, to make sure that we're putting our efforts into making sure that we give you guys the best game we can.
Sure. All right.
But if you look at it, like, we're really only 2 weeks off of where we were at last year. We hit you guys with your boy Xavier Woods. I saw those dance moves you had with it, Xavier Woods. Man, I was like, oh wow!
I'm kidding.
Skills. I was like, surprised. So he led that charge for us with a lot of info early on, so we can continue to do our jobs and try to make this as sweet as possible.
All right. I appreciate that. All right. So over the years in wrestling games, there have been a lot of really, really cool modes and features that have been removed and haven't really found their way back into the current game. You guys probably know where I'm going with this. The one that fans, including myself, have loudly requested the most is a mode called GM mode. I don't know if you ever heard of it. With no sign of it being included this year, why has that been kind of overlooked for the last number of years?
Yeah, I don't know that it's overlooked. I mean, obviously, there's no way we're not hearing you guys, and we do listen to you guys. I think we've shown that over the years. A lot of it has to do with just fitting in with what we're trying to get done. And so, like this year, we really, really wanted to build out the female My Career and the female My Player. That's another thing that people, since we introduced My Career, they're like, why isn't there a female My Player? Why can't we do this with women? And so, with the theme of this year being so much into the women's revolution, having Becky on the cover, that was where we put a lot of our energy and focus for this coming year. And I mean, obviously a lot of that is a direct result of listening to the fans and understanding what you guys are wanting to hear. So, we hear you guys loud and clear, and don't think we're not listening, because we are.
With that being said, is it something that is kind of on your list for possibly future installments?
Absolutely. I think that there's that and a few other things that we hear clearly that people would like to see come back or be rethought in the future as to, and I think that's one of the things that Lionel and I like to try and do is it's like, we don't just want to bring something back the way it was. We want to think about how we should build it now, because times have changed, and
right.
what can we do that's better and more innovative and more exciting.
Right.
And so, I think that that's part of, now that the game is being developed by our own visual concepts team, we'll have a lot of liberties as we move forward, and we'll be able to push a lot onto, okay, well, let's think about what the fans really want. We know what they had, we know what they liked, but now what can we give them that's even better?
Right. Okay. Now, kind of piggybacking off what you just said, earlier this year, it was announced that Yukes would no longer be working on the 2K franchise. Can you guys talk about how that split has affected the development of 2K20, either positively or negatively?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was one of those things where like, we've, I like Yukes, man. Like they were, awesome to deal with and develop, the previous games with. But there came a time where, we, you know, we wanted to take our shot at making the game that we've always wanted to make, and the only way to do that really was just to do it internally, and with that comes a lot more responsibility. A lot of new people had to get hired and get familiar with this franchise, and it's been a growing experience, and it's been actually really cool, like forming this team that we have now. We're in 2 different locations. Mark's in LA right now. We built an LA studio along with our team over here in Northern Cali to make this game, along with some help from other studios as well. It's one of those things where it's like it's been a fun experience, just collaborating with new people, new ideas, and trying to make sure that we have like the same goal in mind, in giving you guys, like I keep saying, like the best wrestling game we can. Right. It's been hard, because it's been a learning experience. Things that Yukes was, they had the keys to. It was now our responsibility, and it was up to us to get those things done. And it was fun. It's fun. I mean, it was challenging as well, right? And so for me, it was good to get back into that driving seat with Mark, and become like the sole developers on a product again.
Mm-hmm. What would you say was the biggest challenge with them leaving?
Just there's so many things that they were implementing for us, right? Like it was like their tools and things like that, where we had to basically rewrite a lot of that stuff and come up with ways in which we felt like we had to do it in a different way, because times have changed, and trying to get up to date and more current. That was really challenging, right? But at the same time, we're getting exposed to like new techniques on how other studios did things, or how new programs that are out there now. We're like, oh, let's try that, let's do this, or write something from scratch to allow us to do certain things that we weren't able to do in the past. And so, but with that, becomes a lot of design, a lot of decisions need to be made, and a lot of people are getting familiar with this product. And it's been challenging, but again, like it was fun. Like it truly was. And for me, it was just like getting to know, like we still have like our core people from years past on the design team, but like building, out a whole art team, a whole, engineering team. Like it is in production, like it's been crazy, but and I can't believe we did it so fast. But and Mark could speak a little bit more on that. He's been heavily involved on setting up that studio over there in LA, and it's been a crazy year.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys are excited about it, which is really cool too.
Yeah, the thing Lionel and I used to always laugh about and have the entire year is the hardest thing is there's been no one to say no to us anymore. So every crazy idea, every cool idea that Lionel and us and the team come up with, we're like, yeah, let's go try it. And sometimes we need to be like, oh, we need to reel that back a little bit. Yeah. Like that's probably too big of an idea with everything we're taking this year, like taking over this entire game, building the team, fixing a lot of problems that have existed in the game for a long time. So, but it's super exciting to be able to do that and be able to have kind of that freedom to think about things that way, and realize it's really up to us at this point. As much as we can do year over year is how fast this game's going to grow and move, and that's exciting.
Sweet. That's got to be a pretty good feeling too, to kind of be in control of your own destiny, so to speak, and not to say anything was hanging over your head, but not to, not really having, like you said, anybody to tell no, which as someone that creates anything is a pretty freeing feeling, I'm sure.
Yeah, if we can't figure it out, it's on us, and that's a great thing. And I'm sure, like everything, we're going to succeed at lots of stuff, and we'll probably have a few stumbles along the way, but that's, as a team and as a game, that's how you grow, right? And that's how you find greatness in the long run, which is our goal. I mean, Lionel and I have always said that, obviously the other team in our studio makes a pretty good basketball game. We've heard about that game, but we want to one day topple them. Like that's our goal. Like that's what we want to do with this franchise moving forward. Is we want WWE 2K to be up at that same level as NBA 2K and beat it in some ways. And we think we can. I mean, the storytelling stuff we're doing already with the things we've done with career mode and stuff is already surpassing a lot of the things that they're able to do. And that's some of the exciting stuff about being in the wrestling genre for us. Is that there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of exciting, cool things we can do.
Awesome. Moving to something that hasn't been talked about too much yet. I'm not sure what you can say at this point, or by the time this video goes up, I'm not sure exactly what's going to be revealed by you guys. Are there any major changes with the creation suite this year? Any new things that you can create? Maybe like a finisher or something along those lines? And can you give me some info on kind of what's just going on with the creation suite in general this year?
Creation suite, like, it's one of those things where like we talked about, like unraveling like just this beast of a mode and making it ours, and writing tools just to get it to a state where it was in previous years was a huge challenge for us, right? Like that thing, like it is probably the deepest, with Create an Arena to Create a Superstar. It's so deep, right? And so that thing, it took a lot of hard work just to unravel it and put it back together and get it to function in the way that you guys have known to use it, right? And so our focus was on just providing you guys with more content, right? So it wasn't really about adding a ton of new features. It was about making sure that the features that existed are polished, and making sure that we're adding more content for you guys to customize your characters with, or your arenas, in the form of like you saw the announcement with the originals, right? So providing you with more tools there, and cool parts and props and things like that to place in your arenas, so, and going back to like having a team of artists, like, and having like concept artists, and be like, hey, this is the idea. Like when we came out with Bump of the Night, it was like, hey, here's kind of the theme, and the concepts we were getting were freaking ridiculous. We're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And we've been kind of accustomed to, lowering our expectations on, like, say, the quality of these certain environments. Like, last year's environment, when we had the Wyatt compound idea in our head, and we saw it come to fruition, we were just like, it didn't really hit that mark, right? Where now, when we come up with the concept, and we're actually to be able to execute it to where the concept, where the actual final in-game model looks exactly like the concept, and you're like, oh my God, like this is what it's like to have like a team that's local that gets it and can hit that bar that we're establishing. And again, I'm not trying to throw Yukes under the bus or anything like that. It's just having that face-to-face interaction with someone, and being able to describe what your vision is, and to see it come through, see it come through actually is a new and an amazing experience for us finally. So like I watched somebody's reaction trailer this morning to that what was it, the gameplay trailer, and that Coliseum in hell, right? Like that's something that was probably impossible in years past, right? Where like the concept looks exactly like the in-game model, right? Where the lava's spitting and all that. And you're like, when we first saw it, you're like, yeah, there's no way we can do that. And then the artists were like, oh no, dude, we got this. And you're like, oh my God, right? So it's things like that, right? Where, I'm most proud of, and excited about, like just seeing the quality that we're able to give you guys for once, right? That just matches our vision of the game.
Sweet. Speaking of the creation suite, creating an arena, things like that, WWE likes to do this really fun thing where they completely change their sets and logos like 3 weeks before a game is about to drop.
They never do that.
What was the reaction from the dev team when you saw that WWE completely rebranded their shows and their sets right before this game was about to drop?
It was kind of like, of course.
Like, oh, of course, of course you did that.
That makes sense. The good thing is we've been working with them for quite a while now, and so we've learned to expect the unexpected, and know as a company, and it's in their core of DNA of how they run their business. They change on a heartbeat if they feel like they need to, and they pivot and they do all this crazy stuff. And obviously, we talk to them all the time and say, hey, if you could, it would be nice if you could give us the heads up.
Sure.
And some of it's just they move so quickly that, you know, we're always going to be probably a little bit behind their latest new idea. And this one's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean,
well, I'm sure people are going to get a lot of use out of that Create an Arena this year. Then, so.
I mean, that's why we have some of that stuff, right? Like,
I gotta give props to the creators too, because if anybody is unable to be on the roster for whatever reason, or if arenas change and stuff, like that community creations thing, it's like almost immediately 2 hours later, you'll have an arena up, you'll have whoever's not in the game is up. It's like crazy what these guys do. So I'm like,
we love going up there too. Like I'll spend weeks up there after we launch and download stuff and try and figure out how they built it. Yeah. I'm looking at it and I'm like, what parts are they putting together and how are they doing that?
Right.
And then, you know, you download it and you take a look and you're like, oh, that's really smart. And then Lionel and I actually use that to figure out, well, could we do something better for them that would make this easier for them in the future? That's, you know, some of what we do is trying to just support the best creators out there.
Absolutely. And there are some seriously amazing creators for
really
sure.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
No, I love seeing all that stuff.
Yeah, it's always fun to see. So getting back to, I think the most important aspect of any video game is the gameplay itself. You know, I know 2K19 took a pretty big step forward in making the gameplay a bit more fast-paced, speeding up some animations, paybacks, etc. Are there any significant changes to the core gameplay this year?
I mean, I think that the way I put it is like we've worked on the controls a lot this year, and so you know, some of what we're trying to do is make the game a little bit more accessible for people that are new to the game, but also keep the depth for everybody else, right? Sure. So people that played it a long time want to have a lot of control and they want to do it. So you've heard us talk about, you know, our updated control scheme. A lot of what we were doing were things to try and reach that goal. So, you know, there's some are simple things like we moved the reversal button to a different spot. So instead of being on the trigger, it's now on the Y, you know, it's on the top button, depending on the control, right? And so we did that because we realized that reversals are a very, very split second thing. The trigger takes a long time to pull. People were missing because the trigger pulls slow.
The timing
so by putting it on, putting it on the face button makes it a lot more immediate, and you get much more accurate results from people that are much more successful at it. But on top of that, we also looked at the reversal system and just tried to retune it and rework it so it was much more consistent, move to move, much more predictable, that the prompts happen a lot better. You know, and all these things are small, but they lead into just a more playable game. And, you know, we're definitely keeping with the kind of the pace and the speed that you were seeing in 2K19 and just kind of trying to improve upon that.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So jumping into, we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but jumping into my favorite mode every year, which of course is the career mode. That's kind of my bread and butter. First ever female inclusion, like you mentioned. Can you give us some details about what we should expect from that career this year? Does it span 1 year or a number of years? Is it a little more open-ended? You know, can you kind of just spill whatever you can for me, if you would?
It does span multiple years. So yeah.
Longer than 2K19? Is the story going to be longer in length than 2K19? Okay.
Yeah. It's, I think right now, what is it, Mark? Like 25 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Really?
We got a lot more voiceover from superstars. Like Mark said, we have the female. You know,
was John Cena available this time?
What are you talking about? It was John Cena, man. Did you see what he looked like? That's John Cena.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
It just didn't sound like the, you know.
I'm sorry. You were saying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I'm sorry.
So yeah, you know, we have voiceover.
Sure.
From a lot of superstars, and I will say, like, the performances we have this year, we up the ante, man. Like, it's sometimes when you hear some of these guys, you're like, oh man, like they were really into it, and it really adds to the story. It adds to that feeling that, you know, you are part of the WWE, and these people actually don't like you, right? If you're going up against them, and so yeah, there's a lot of cool twists and turns, and you know, I know you like the fun, crazy stuff, so we definitely went a little crazy again.
Nice.
I love, but it doesn't compromise the story. It doesn't compromise, what the WWE is all about, right? And that's entertainment.
Mhm.
It is still grounded in reality, even though we tend to throw in some cool stuff in there. It all makes sense at the end, and it's a cool journey. Like I really like what we did with the relationship between the male and the female. They are best friends. There's no romance going on, so it's just it's a cool kind of coming of age story coming up through the WWE, and there's some nice surprises in there that I really can't wait to watch you play through it, man.
Nice. Awesome. I can't wait to play it. Like now, no, it's like 25 hours compared to what was last year? Maybe the 10, 12, something like that, maybe?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's like double the length. That's crazy. That's good to know. That makes me happy. That makes
My
me
question to
happy.
you, though, we know Chris Danger, but
Christina Danger, maybe? I don't know.
Well, see, so all right, we'll get into the lore some other time. We'll circle back to that. So I actually got one more question. I would assume one of the hardest things about releasing a game on a yearly schedule is fan fatigue. Madden goes through it, NBA, FIFA, all these games. I'm a Madden fan, but I've skipped releases before. That's just kind of the way that it is sometimes. So if you had to make a pitch to fans who are on the fence about it, how do you believe 2K20 will be different from 2K19, and why should they purchase this year's game?
For me, it's I want them to see what we're about, right? Like when we first got the license, we always felt like it wasn't a true representation of what Visual Concept stands for, right? Like Mark was the executive producer on MLB, I was the art director on NBA, so that's in our DNA, right? Like, and when you come from those products and you come from those games and those teams, you can't help but have a higher bar, right? Where we're like, we just expected more from ourselves and from the product. And again, I'm not, dumping on Yukes, but it was just like they had their way of doing things, THQ had their way of doing things, and we were different, right? And so we never really felt like we could make our mark on the game. We would change things here and there. We would try to add things that were different. But it just, at the end of the day, it never really felt like us, right? And so now that we have a chance at showing what we're all about, like I really want people to see what all the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into this year's game, and this whole entire team has put forth their absolute best to try to get you guys the game that we're all proud of. And no game is perfect. We understand that, right? But for us, it's about making sure that you guys see what we're all about and what we're building towards in the future. And this is a glimpse of what our vision is for for what this game can evolve into in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, right? Like we wanted to be the absolute best, hands down. There's no old N64 games in the conversation. It's just us, right? That's where it needs to be, and that's our goal. And like Mark said, one day, when people say 2K Day, they're talking about ours. It's a question mark. It's not just a statement, right? We know what 2K Day is right now, and that's NBA, and they've earned that right. And for us, it's like we just want to be in that conversation.
Right. I would love to see that day come where 2K Day doesn't just mean NBA anymore, because obviously you guys know I'm a big fan of the franchise, and as a big wrestling fan, that's what you want. Everybody's like, "Oh, you did grab the new 2K," and I'm like, "Yeah, wait, we're probably not talking about the same one." Mark, you got anything to add on top of that?
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of the same as what Lionel's saying, and we're not going into all the details, today, but there's a lot of little things in this game that are there for the fans, and they're there for the people, and things that we changed purposely because it's a better direction for the game, for us and for the fans. And so, like a very simplistic one I'll touch on is like we brought back lobbies for online. Like we have a good sized user community, but split them up across 40 game modes online. And guess what? There's not a lot of people playing Royal Rumbles online at night if you're trying to match make. But this way people can see what they're trying to do, trying to get into, we want people wrestling. We want people having fun with each other online. That's what this game is great for. Like playing with your buddies, your friends, that's the sort of stuff that we're going to keep pushing on and keep making better and keep focusing on, of how do you have these great entertainment experiences? How do you have more fun with your friends or with other people that are fans of wrestling? That's what this game is really, like Lionel says, it's kind of like the starting point of where we think we're going to be able to take it in the future. But there's a lot of great stuff in there already.
Right. All right, awesome. That's pretty much all I got for now. Hopefully nothing too crazy for you guys. We pretty much covered everything. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it whenever that may be and kind of seeing how it feels and all that. But thank you guys for taking the time. I really appreciate this. Hopefully the community appreciates, you guys being, honest and forthcoming about, how you feel about the game. I know, like I've worked with you guys for a couple years now. I know how passionate you are. I know that everybody in this call wants this wrestling game to be amazing, and we want every wrestling game to be great. We don't have a whole lot of we're not exactly at the top of the popularity totem pole when it comes to video games. So knowing that you guys are passionate and just gung ho about this, like that excites me, and that makes me feel good. So I'm glad you guys are I'm glad you took the time to do this, and I'm glad that we got another game coming out in a couple days, and I can't wait to play. So go get back to making the game then, and make it great. Thank you for your time.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.